Hi everyone, I'm Ms. Chimisian. I'm a social studies teacher here at RHS, and I'm also the faculty advisor for our Ridgewood High School's chapter of the National Honor Society. I'd like to welcome you as we celebrate our Class of 2021 National Honor Society induction ceremony. Tonight we are formally recognizing the students who have been selected by the Ridgewood High School's chapter of the NHS for their ability to exemplify the tenets of the National Honor Society and to induct them as new members. The National Honor Society is our nation's oldest, largest, and most prestigious student recognition program. Our chapter is proud to have been inducting new members since 1965, and today's ceremony indicates the continuing emphasis on excellence that these students represent for our Ridgewood High School. Throughout the year, members of our chapter serve as role models and leaders for their peers in our school. In addition to their strong academic records, which established eligibility for membership, our chapter members have been leaders in many student organizations and serve and give back routinely to Ridgewood High School and the community of Ridgewood. Next year, these same students will be offering peer tutoring services to Ridgewood High School students, organizing and running student-run drop-in service for homework help, leading multiple blood drives, volunteering at the Ridgewood Public Library, fundraising, and providing assistance to various organizations throughout the community. We are very proud of this group's existing accomplishments and look forward to planning a great year ahead. The focus of every National Honor Society class is to give back to their school and community before leaving the halls of Ridgewood High School. In fact, one facet of their commitment is a promise to perform 10 out of their 40 mandated hours right here with RHS Honor Society-sponsored volunteer initiatives. These students have already demonstrated a keen eagerness in getting involved to help others, and now the goal of the Ridgewood High School chapter of the National Honor Society is simply to give back. Tonight's ceremony will highlight the purpose of NHS and the impact our students have made for our Ridgewood community. Thank you for joining us as we celebrate our students.
Tonight we are honoring Mr. Monahan. Mr. Monahan is the social studies teacher at RHS as well as being this year's Teacher of the Year. He is being honored to speak to our incoming NHS class as our keynote speaker.
Hello, my name is Timothy Monahan, and like you, I grew up in Ridgewood and attended Ridgewood High School. I'm now finishing my 16th year as a teacher at RHS and my 18th year as a teacher in New Jersey. I recently did some math with alarming results. At this time next year, I will have spent 50% of my life at RHS. Now, while the mathematically inclined among you will be able to determine my age based on this data, let's just keep that our little secret, okay? Thanks. I'm speaking to you now because this year I was honored as the Ridgewood High School Teacher of the Year. This is an honor I never thought I would receive because whenever the topic comes up, I can't help but thinking of the many compassionate, enthusiastic, and talented people I have the honor of serving with here at Ridgewood High School. Also, because let's face it, I'm a little rough around the edges. If you ever ate lunch in Gym 1 when you were a 9th grader, well, you know how I feel about people throwing food or leaving trash behind for me and the custodians to clean up. In all seriousness, though, this honor is one that I accept with tremendous humility and reverence for all those RHS teachers and students who came before us. The fabric of Ridgewood High School's past has been woven over 127 years by almost 50,000 young men and women from all walks of life coming together under one roof to engage in 4 years of learning as one community. The halls of RHS have been walked by what I call our maroon ancestors. They established and carried forth the tradition of excellence that defines our house to this day. Our maroon ancestors came here for different reasons, but were united in the seriousness of their purpose to learn together as part of a community. The intellectual, social, and emotional experience they gained in their time here at Ridgewood served as wind in their sails as they eventually departed on the great adventure we call life. They went on to make a positive impact on the world they graduated into. They used the knowledge and skills they learned here to continue the tradition and values of citizenship that make this nation great, to help others in need, to bring about social justice and change whenever possible, to make advances and breakthroughs in science or technology, to serve their country, to serve their local community, to lead their peers, to accept and appropriately respond to the adversity that life deals us, to embrace peace and prosperity, and to lead richer, fuller lives, often passing this on to their families in turn. While this is Ridgewood High School's past, what I want to talk to you today is the future of RHS. Let's talk about the students and teachers who will plot the course of Ridgewood High School's future. Who will generate the wind that will power the next generation of Maroons? Well, you and I will together. See, after you graduate, a few of you will come back to teach here at RHS. Many more of you will come back to Ridgewood to live and raise your families. But all of you will be part of the 2021 National Honor Society at Ridgewood High School. In this sense, you are the immediate future of Ridgewood. Therefore, you're the most important group of people for me to speak to about our future. Were it possible for this ceremony to take place in person, we would be in the campus center right now, and I would point to 5 candles beside the podium from which I would be delivering this message to you, and I would say, the single candle of the NHS symbolizes the eternal light of knowledge. The 4 unit candles represent scholarship, service, leadership, and character. Membership in the Ridgewood High School chapter of the National Honor Society has been earned by the effective demonstration of these 4 qualities, which are held in high esteem by the society. I want to give you just a few examples of those great Maroon ancestors I mentioned earlier, as a means of explaining to you how I see character, service, leadership, and scholarship under the roof of our house. Character. Character is what you do when no one is looking. This is an important mantra that Coach Charles Chuck Johnson taught me during my 4 years under his tutelage as a student athlete here at RHS. When I think of Coach J, I don't just think of the man's personal character. I think of how he instilled character in me and the hundreds of student athletes that he has coached. Over his 36 years at RHS, to this day, I think of that expression when I'm faced with a character decision. I've even passed this on to my son. A few years ago, we were walking on Ridgewood Avenue and we found a large wad of money outside the movie theater. Rather than keeping it, we went inside and asked the manager if anyone was looking for it. Someone was, and returning the money to the rightful owner felt much better than spending it on ourselves at the Pancake House. Good advice, Coach. Did you know that Coach J is the winningest coach of a public school in Bergen County history, collecting 5 state championships and a perfect season along the way? It's true. But I'll always think of Coach J for the game that he lost, not the ones that he won. Just a few weeks after the 9/11 attacks in 2001, high school football play had resumed in New Jersey. 12 Ridgewood residents had tragically been lost on that infamous day, including the father of one of the players. With game set to resume, Coach J did something unprecedented, something unthinkable, something that even endangered his team's playoff chances, but something that was unquestionably right and just. He forfeited the game against Teaneck. Coach J cited that the time was just not right to play yet, and he was right. It was still too soon. This dropped the team's record to 1-3, putting their backs up against the wall. But a funny thing happened. That team rallied not only to make the playoffs, but also to win their first playoff game after several years of losing. Of course, this anecdote is not about football. It's about character, which is doing the right thing in the right situation. Service. I like to think that service means giving back to a system that gave to you. We serve because we each owe some debt of gratitude to society. When I think of service, a local example that immediately comes to mind is my good friend Michael Lembo. We graduated from RHS the same year, and as a young man, Mike was an active participant in local youth group and the Boy Scouts. When he graduated college, he came back to work at RHS as a teacher's aide until he got the call that he had been accepted to the Ridgewood Police Force. It was here that Mike was able to fulfill his burning desire to give back to his community, with a particular focus on helping children. Mike Lembo isn't just an example of service. He's also a true hero. In addition to his services and efforts to promote safety in Ridgewood through the police department, Mike has served for 11 years on the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office Cybercrimes Task Force. Here, he has dealt mostly with fighting child exploitation. He's also a certified cyber investigator for the FBI. And in 2012, he was awarded the Ridgewood Knights of Columbus Police Officer of the Year Award for saving a young girl in Florida from being exploited by a family member. He was also recognized by the Bergen County Freeholders in 2018 for his unwavering commitment to education, protection of children, and his tireless service to the community. What makes Mike so special is that despite these awards and accomplishments, in his words, quote, "Awards are great, but protecting our children is really what matters to me." Leadership. I've always felt that leadership is done by example. End of discussion. The phrase "leaders eat last," popularized in the eponymous book by writer Simon Sinek, speaks to how leadership is not a title, but more of a philosophy, a role, and a mindset. For the last 8 years, I have had the great honor and privilege of serving under the exceptional leadership of one of the true greats in education, RHS alumni, Dr. Tom Gorman. At the time I'm speaking to you, I'm not sure that you understand just how much Dr. Gorman's leadership has meant for the Ridgewood High School community during the COVID-19 crisis. I was there in Dr. Gorman's office on the day before schools were closed for what would eventually be the remainder of the school year. To borrow from my colleagues, Mr. Bailey and Mr. Fabish, Dr. Gorman is, in one word, unflappable. Panic was nowhere to be found as he called on the RHS tech coaches to compile a toolkit of remote learning resources for all the teachers. It was evident that he was not only in control of the immediate situation, but that he also understood remote learning was going to happen for longer than 2 weeks. In a recent interview with Coach Stroker, Dr. Gorman made it clear that he is working around the clock, often by himself at RHS, to make sure that everything possible is being done to support the RHS students, staff, and the parents in this unprecedented time. He is literally leaving no stone unturned as he prepares for every possible scenario moving forward. One final note on Dr. Gorman. He is not only my boss as the principal of Ridgewood High School, but he was also my instructor during my most recent graduate degree program. Remember how I said that leaders eat last? On the last day of class, Dr. Gorman was generous enough to treat our class to dinner. And sure enough, he was the last one online to serve himself. Scholarship. I think of scholarship as the never-ending, constantly rewarding process of thinking about, investigating, studying, researching, and experiencing the physical and the metaphysical world that we inhabit. There is one and only one person who comes to mind when I think about a member of the RHS community who embodies this, my esteemed colleague, Meda Cureton. For those of you who have not had the pleasure of working with her in the classroom, Ms. Cureton stands out, shining like an intellectual North Star in the great constellation of RHS teachers. The thing about Ms. Cureton isn't that she's a master of just one particular academic topic. She's a master of them all. It's her devotion to the scholarly process and thereby the entire body of scholarship that makes Meda so special. I've had the pleasure of dropping into her classroom on more than one occasion, and to be honest, you'd have a difficult time knowing if you were sitting in on a government, constitutional law, US history, economics, philosophy, or maybe even a great books seminar. This is the ultimate compliment to Ms. Cureton, because on the one hand, she possesses the rare and powerful mind required to be a master of so many different topics and fields. Her work in professional development, be it history or law, in fostering academic scholarship is as vast as it is impressive. But also, Ms. Cureton's pedagogical mastery is what guides her to teach the connections between the many different fields to maximize her students' desire to learn. I want to share an anecdote that communicates the power of working with Meda on a scholarly endeavor. Admittedly, I was a late bloomer, intellectually speaking. I mean, if you ask anyone that I went to high school with, they would have a hard time believing that I grew up to be a teacher of advanced placement economics at Ridgewood High School. The truth is that I've personally undergone an intellectual transformation over the years. In my early days of teaching, I was known much more as a disciplinary force, more of a lacrosse and a football coach than an academic. I can pinpoint the exact event that steered me towards my love of scholarship. Maida Cureton and I were selected to complete a Teaching American History grant workshop series together. Over the course of a year, I not only got to hear prominent historians come speak to our cohort of history teachers, but perhaps more importantly, I got to sit next to Maida and work collaboratively with her on lesson plans and projects. Maida has the unique capacity to impress her coworkers and peers with her intellectual depth and range while somehow remaining approachable to a degree that which, after you work with her for a short time, you simply start to become more like her. She immediately became my intellectual role model as I decided to emulate her approach to learning and teaching. Shortly after we finished the cohort, I decided to attend Fordham University for a master's degree in history, and the rest, as they say, appropriately, is history. I would not be the teacher I am today if it were not for the influence of Maida Cureton. I want to end on the following. While I was a college student enrolled in an introductory philosophy course, Socrates got his hooks into me by way of Plato, by way of Jostein Gaarder's book, Sophie's World. You should read that one over the summer. The unexamined life is not worth living. This is a mantra that once understood by a student can never be unlearned. Ever since I stumbled across this maxim, I have placed a premium on paying attention to the world around me, asking questions, seeking answers, and reflecting as often as possible. In many ways, the opportunity to write this speech has been nothing more or less than an opportunity to reflect deeply on those around you and me who embody the values emphasized by the National Honor Society. So in conclusion, I would like to encourage you to lead examined lives as you follow in the footsteps of the great RHS graduates, the Maroon ancestors that I have so briefly paid tribute to you here today. On behalf of the RHS faculty, I congratulate you on your induction into the National Honor Society, and I truly look forward to working with you next year at Ridgewood High School. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Monahan. In addition, tonight we will be highlighting the musical talents of our outgoing NHS class of 2020. Now we have a performance by our very own Aqua Bellows.
Come take my hand, I won't let you go. I'll be your friend, I will love you so deeply. I will be the one to kiss you at night. I will love you till the end. I'll be your baby, da-da-da, let you go. Love you like crazy, da-da-da, let me go. Say you'll never let me go, say you'll never let me go. Say my name, if no one is around you. Say baby I love you, you ain't running game. Say my name, you acting kinda shady, ain't calling me baby, better say my name. Any other day I would call, you would say, baby how's your day, but today it's the same. Any other word that you're okay. Could it be that you are at the crib with a little lady? I didn't really say that I'm assuming something's going down with the way you seem. Shouldn't be the reason why I act strange. Ain't nobody's holding you back from me. Say my name, if no one is around you. Say baby I love you. Say my name, remember those walls I've built, baby they're tumbling down. They didn't even put up a fight, they didn't even make a sound. It's like I've been awakened, every rule I had you breaking. It's a risk that I'm taking, I ain't never gonna what you are. Everywhere looking now, surrounded by your embrace. Baby, I can feel your halo. I know you're my saving grace. You're everything I need and more. It's written all over your face. Baby, I can feel your halo. It won't fade away. Halo, I can see your halo. Halo, I can see your halo. Halo, I can see your halo. Finally you put me first, baby it's you. You're the one I love, you're the one I need. You're the only one I see. Come on baby it's you. You're the one that gets my all. You're the one I always call when I need you, make everything stop. Finally you put my love on top. Come on baby, you put my love on top, 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 top. You put my love on top. Come on baby, you put my love on top, 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 top. Put my love on top. Baby it's you. You're the one I love. You're the one I need. You're the only one I see. Come on baby it's you. You're the one that gets my all. You're the one I always call when I need to make everything stop. Finally, you put my love on top, baby, 'cause you're the one that I love. You're the one I need. You're the only one I see. Come on, baby, it's you. You're the one that gets my all. You're the one I always call when I need to make everything stop. Finally, you put my love on top.
Thank you, Aqua Bellows. We will now begin the induction. Please follow along as we read the pledge. Upon my induction to the National Honor Society, I pledge myself to its ideals of character, service, leadership, and scholarship. I promise to continue my attempts to know as much about the world as I am able, to share that knowledge with others, and to realize that I can learn from everyone and still never know everything. I promise to encourage others to reach their personal heights by trying as hard as I can to reach my own. And, above all, I promise to remain faithful to my vision of myself, because it is in integrity that I find strength, and it is with strength that I find ways to improve the world.
The National Honor Society is founded upon the principles of character, service, leadership, and scholarship. In all your undertakings, may you always keep in mind these guiding principles. Membership in the Ridgewood High School chapter of the National Honor Society has been earned by the effective demonstration of these four qualities, which are held in high esteem by the society. You will now hear from current National Honor Society members about what these principles mean to them.
Character is the force within each individual which distinguishes that person from others. It gives each one individuality. It is that without which no one can respect oneself, nor hope to attain the respect of others. It is this force of character which guides one through life and, when once developed, grows steadily. Character is achieved and not received. It is the product of constant action and daily striving to make the right choice. The problem of character is the problem of self-control. We must be in reality what we wish to appear to others. By demonstrating such qualities as reliability, honesty, and sincerity, we may hope to prove by example that we value character.
Community. It is defined by the Webster Dictionary as a feeling of fellowship with others, as a result of sharing a common attitude, interest, and goal.
A community is not just a group of people that live in the same place, but rather a group of people that come together to support and care for each other.
Community means trusting the people around you and knowing that you have people there for you.
I would roughly define community as a group of people who provide you with a sense of belonging.
To me, community is the most important aspect of any environment you could be in, whether it be in school, socially, or just in life in general.
So giving back to the community is really what National Honor Society is all about.
Community is seen on every level, and I think it's incredibly important, and I think it's incredibly fun, most importantly.
A community is seen at RHS when the students volunteer their time to help others. Whether it is tutoring our peers, organizing a local food drive, donating blood to the Red Cross, or helping to run various school events, our student body is a part of a larger community that helps to make our school and our town a better place.
More directly localized to the RHS level, I think community is prevalent in a lot of different ways. I think it can be either the different sports teams showing up for each other's games and supporting, or club members like in DECA when they're helping each other out with their role plays or helping each other out with their papers, helping judge their presentations, doing mock role plays and everything like that.
As we further isolate ourselves, community is more important than ever. And we have all seen many examples of community during this time, especially from the RHS administration. For example, through the R House and Pizzuto's various emails and the teacher TikToks, they have all reminded us that we're a part of the Ridgewood community.
Personally, through NHS, I've been given a plethora of opportunities to give back to the community. And of the many touching and important community moments was participating in the Run for Congenital Heart Disease. There, I was able to help give a little bit of joy back to those that sometimes struggle to find it.
So one specific time that I remember is the Thanksgiving food drive, when we prepared Thanksgiving meals for families who couldn't afford it, and it really felt good to give back to the community.
And the thing I love most about a sense of community and a strong sense of community is it's not just service projects or tutoring or helping other people out in any sense of the word. Well, that's all great, but I think the big aspect about community that I love so much is that it's mostly just building relationships with people you have around you and fostering those relationships and really just getting to know the person to your left and to your right and developing a strong friendship with them, more than just being more than just an acquaintance.
NHS is a remarkable program that provides fantastic and heartfelt opportunities to help the community.
A large reason why this induction ceremony is important is because all of you will be taking on a greater role in the Ridgewood community.
Service can be expressed in various ways. In the routine of the day's work, many opportunities arise to help others. Willingness to work without monetary compensation nor recognition for the benefit of those in need is the quality we seek in our membership. We are committed to the idea of volunteering our time and abilities for the creation of a better tomorrow.
As a member of the society, we all have to complete 40 hours of community service by the end of our senior year.
To me, service means putting yourself out there to help others, even if you don't have to.
Basically, the way I view service is it's a way of giving back to the community as an appreciation for all that's done for you.
My favorite thing that I did to help complete my 40 hours was volunteering with the Social Services Association in town and helping out with the food drive and the food bank. So me and a few friends worked at the food bank. We helped to receive donations, sort the donations, stock the shelves, and we also helped to organize food drives. And I really like this because it helps to get the whole community involved, not just us.
A few examples of service would be maybe participating in awareness walks and helping run the awareness walks. I did one for heart disease. Another example would be helping run a Thanksgiving food drive, which would be packaging and delivering food packages all over town and surrounding areas.
One opportunity I had to help others was the congenital heart disease walk, which was a lot of fun because I was basically just playing with kids all day. But the older workers were so thankful that we were there because it helped to take pressure off of them and provide activities for the kids. And it really showed that even a small and fun service job like that can brighten someone's day and put a smile on their face, which NHS is all about.
For the incoming NHS students, I'd like to give you a little bit about my kind of unorthodox experience incorporating NHS into my community service. I did it in combination with RAP, and that inspired me to start volunteering at the hospital a lot more. And so I started to work and cooperate with one of the infusion center units in order to kind of incorporate possibilities to increase patient satisfaction. And so I was volunteering there on my off time, and I made some really good connections and just kind of experiences that I didn't think I'd have, but were very valuable even though I'm not going into the health field.
I reached out to my middle school Latin teacher, asking if I could tutor some of his students in Latin because that was a subject that I was strong at and I wanted to help. This is a positive thing for many reasons, and they're important because they not only help people in the short term, but they also send a positive message into the community that will hopefully encourage others to do the same.
Leadership should exert a wholesome influence on the school. In taking the initiative in class and school activities, the real leader strives to train and aid others to obtain the same objective. The price of leadership is sacrifice, the willingness to yield one's personal interests for the interests of others. A leader has self-confidence and will go forward when others hesitate. No matter what power and resources that exist in a country, they are ineffectual without the guidance of a wise leader. Leadership is always needed, and is thus a substantive charge to each of our members and to the candidates.
To me, leadership in the context of NHS means taking action whenever you can, and encouraging yourself and others to be the ones who make change in our community.
Leadership can look different to everybody, but it is essential in a community, and it's definitely not about being better than anyone else. It's more about guiding your peers and your students and communities towards success and towards the future.
Leadership to me means choosing to do the right thing even when no one's watching.
I see leadership as the mindset and attitude required for NHS to be effective.
And a quote that I try to really implement in my life is the quote, "It's lonely at the top," which I think is a very hard thing to deal with, especially in high school. It's very easy to choose to do the easy thing or just to cop out of the situation and follow your friends. But I think to me, being in National Honor Society and being involved in many community-oriented events where I had to be a leader and I had to step up and play that role and make sure that I was really running the event to the best that I possibly could be, I think just really helped me realize the importance of trying to be a leader and not following to the crowd.
I myself am a team leader of 10 students, and what I do is I help organize volunteering hours. I make sure that everyone is staying on track with their NHS requirements, and I attend meetings to help pitch in ideas on how to make RHS and Ridgewood as a whole a better place.
Before becoming an external event coordinator in NHS, I was and I am one of the editors-in-chief of our school paper, the High Times. From being a leader in NHS and another club, I learned that it's not so much about leading a group of people than it is to work with them. I think a big part of leadership is learning how to work with other people and taking criticism and feedback and channeling to something better. And an effective leader is one who can do that, well, and I'm grateful that NHS has given me that opportunity to practice good leadership skills.
And even though it's a lot easier to just go with the flow or maybe not try to step up and just let other people do things for you, in the end, the people who are going to make it and people who are going to feel fulfilled with their lives are people who are doing the most for themselves and really trying to make an impact. So I think that's, for me, what being a leader is and being a leader in NHS is like.
Especially during a time like this where nothing really seems certain anymore, we need leadership now more than ever. And that can start with you guys by being a part of a well-recognized scholarly community like NHS.
In NHS, there's so many opportunities that you can take with leadership, which may be creating a new service project for other NHS members, tutoring beyond just RHS students, or running for an executive board position. Making your own service project is extremely fulfilling and epitomizes leadership because you can choose the cause and help others understand why it is so important to you, which is what I did. Good luck with your leadership development this year, and have fun at NHS.
And remember, leadership is what you make of it, so make it count.
Scholarship means a commitment to learning. A student is willing to spend hours in reading and study, knowing the lasting benefits of a cultivated mind. We should continue to learn even when formal education has ended, for education ends only with life. Knowledge is one great element in life that leads to the highest success, and it can be acquired in only one way, through diligence and effort. Learning furnishes the lamp by which we read the past and the light that illuminates the future. Candidates have the charge to continually expand their world through the opportunities inherent in scholarship.
Scholarship is more than receiving good grades. It involves being a committed learner in and outside of the classroom.
It means going the extra mile and helping others grow academically as well.
For scholarship, a certain GPA and a certain number of tutoring hours is required to be an NHS member, but to me and to most other members, it's about much more than that. I really think it's about the academic collaboration and helping each other that exists both within NHS and within RHS as a whole.
As an RHS student and a community member, I find that the work that matters most is not of a reward or a grade, but something that makes a difference.
Your academic achievements are part of why you've been invited to join National Honor Society. In NHS, not only can you interact with others who value academics like you do, you can help others reach their academic goals through volunteer programs like NHS tutoring.
One big aspect of NHS scholarship is tutoring. Tutoring allows you to get to know and help younger members of RHS and even the greater Richard community.
In NHS, we have tutors in the library helping underclassmen every day. I think this shows scholarship by sharing knowledge with others instead of only focusing on your own growth.
Scholarship may seem like it stems from school and grades, but it truly embodies constantly building your knowledge everywhere and putting your best effort forward.
No one achieves academic success alone, whether that's through formal tutoring or through informally helping each other, and I think that's part of what makes the NHS so important.
Thank you to our outgoing members for outlining the importance of character, service, leadership, and scholarship. Now we'll be reading the names of the new inductees.
Juliet Bergantino, Daniel Bergman, Hannah Kalaman, Ryan Chan, Dev Chhabra, Alexander Cho, Hannah Choi, Catherine Chu, Jason Clark, Kyle Conanello, Isabella Kupi, Sophia Dabastani, Matthew DeMolder,
Patrick DeMulder, Blaise DeLeon, Layla DeNovo, James Dolan, Remy Dresner, Frank Dunn, Nathan Fallon, Lawrence Fine, Emily Fitz, Julianne Flushy, Rachel Frank, Aaron Friedman, Amelia Gessman,
Daniela Gronin, Serena Grassi, Charles Healy, Urina Homa, Allison Hong, Leah Horkenbach, Victoria Hoy, Justin Ivanov, Alexandra Jurdy, Alana Kerner, Adina Kestenbaum, Eamon Khan.
Hak Young Kim, Kyu Hong Kim, Zachary Kim, Trishika Kiran Rao, Brandon Lee, Yunji Lee, Matthew Lepis, Riley Lewis, Emma Ligori, Caroline Loscalzo, Claire McCooey, Mary McKenna, Ryan McKenna.
Lindsay Middleton, Ellen Maudlin, Om Mundi, Haruka Murai, Courtney Murphy, Chloe Nam, Samantha Nye, Kayla Owitz, Sarah Policano, Timothy Ree, Logan Richmond, Jake Rubenstein, Emma Schmaltz,
Skylar Snow, William Stewart, Emma Sue, Claire Sullivan, Saori Takahashi, Susanna Taylor, Catherine Tepper, Karina Trauma, Jay von Adrichem Bogart, Dia Vid, Daniel Weisfinen, Janice Yoon, Julia Zambito.